After the 5 years, Raphael withdraws all of his money and puts it in another bank that offers 2.5% interest per annum compounded monthly. Okay, so that's going to be slightly different. And same with the 2.5%. Calculate the amount of money that he has in the bank after 3 more years. Okay, so I am recalculating some stuff. I'm going to put in all of my variables. Okay. After another 3 more years means that n is going to be 3. I is 2.5. The present value is going to be the final value right now, except for it's going to be negative, right? Negative 5,657.04. Payments are still 0. We're not making any installments on this. We'll talk about what that means later. Our final value is the unknown, and our payments per year is 1. But this time, our compounding per years is monthly, which means 12 times a year. How I can bring this final value up to my present value is I can press Control C. Literally just the Control button and then the C button. And then I scroll up to my present value and I can press Control V and it copies it all down. I can scroll back to the beginning and make it negative, so that's awesome. N is now 3. This, I don't know what it is, and compoundings is now 12. Notice if I scroll up now, it tries to change it from a different number, so I just move my cursor and click on final value so I don't have to change that number away from 12 again. Now when I press enter, I get 6,097. 6097.16. And there you go. All right. I want you to go ahead and try example 3 all on your own. We've now done example 2 fully together. You can see what happens when compounding is different than yearly. We notice that payments per year for right now is always 1. Payments is always 0. Making sure that your negatives are when it's coming out of your pocket and into the bank. And your number of payments, your N, is typically years. There might be times when that's different. Now is not that case. So go ahead and try A on your own. So as with always, I'm going to list out the variables, which helps me know what I need to do. We're investing 80,000 rubles, so that's going to be negative 80,000 for my present value because it's going into the bank. Offers an interest of 3%. Oops, goes for here. Compounded quarterly means that it compounds 4 times per year. There's no payments, so it doesn't matter how many payments per year because it's going to be just 0 every time I make a payment, but I'll put 1. My final value is what I would like to know. And my number of payments is going to be 6. So if any of those are different than what I put down, then your finance is probably going to be slightly different. Our final value should be 95,713.08 rubles. Go ahead and try B on your own. So, as always, even if I'm not exactly sure what's going on, I'm going to list out, okay, I know that this is financial algebra. Let me list out all of the variables that I have and let me see if I can kind of take it out one step at a time to try and puzzle out this problem. It helps if you have a procedure, so then that way you can just kind of be like, okay, I have to be held accountable for all of these items. Let me just try and puzzle out what each of these means individually before I even think about the big picture. So we want to calculate how long. Okay, so N is going to be our big question mark. We don't know the time, so N is going to be our unknown. Interesting. So we have to have information for all of these. I know payments are going to be 0. I know payments per year is going to be 1. I know that my interest is 3, and I know that my present value was 80,000. My final value, I know it needs to be double, but I don't really know what that means quite yet, maybe. But my CPY, my compoundings, that hasn't changed, and so that's 4. So now I've just kind of eliminated a bunch of things that I don't have to think about anymore because I've taken care of them and I've written them down and I've got them out on my page. And now all I have to think about is what would my final value be given this information? Well, it says for his original amount of money to double. So my final value would have to be double of the original. And the original is 80,000. So double of 80,000 is 160,000. Right? So that's all you have to do, and then you can solve for n. You make sure that this is positive, right? If you have a present value and a final value, you need to make sure that those are flipped. One's positive and one's negative, or else they might give you a different answer. So you need to clear n first, and then you would get that n is approximately 23.19. So it's about 23 years later. Is the answer. Okay, so this is financial algebra, just getting started. Next lesson, we're going to talk when it gets a little bit more complicated, when we start dealing with those payments and payments per year. Good job today.